Okay, yeah. So moving on. Hold on. Okay. So this was my undergrad journey. I was active in a bunch of CCAs. I was in NUS Golf. I was in Tembu College. Then I went NOC Israel. Then after that, I stayed in N-House as well. I went for Berkeley Summer School. I went for the ISC Georgia Tech Summer School. I went to Steer Middle East, and I went to Steer Krakatoa. Basically, I'll summarize all of this stuff later in the final slide, right? But basically, the stuff that I want to get about this is school has a lot of things to teach you more than just what's happening in class. I'll link back to my 3.99 GPA later as well. So my career journey, I joined Singtel as a management associate 2018. So I did a bunch of stuff in Singtel. I was project manager for mobile core. Back then, we set up the ERP2 infrastructure, that stupid LTA new system, right? Yeah, so we did it back then as well, 2018. Then I went to Trustwave for secondment. I did research there. Then I came back to Singtel as a security manager after what I learned in Trustwave. So the reason why I came back was, follow the money, right? So back then, this was about 2020, 5G was starting to pick up. So there was a lot of investment into 5G, into mobile. So you go there, follow the money. That's where all the money for trainings, money for experiences came in, because Singtel was investing. And then after spending about 5 years in mobile and in Trustwave, I opted for internal transfer. So now I'm in the Business Information Security Office for Singtel Enterprise. Then a bunch of random certificates are all related to cybersecurity. So some other fun facts I'll tell you all, and this will lead to the summary I give you all later, is in reservists, I'm actually a sit test assessor. But then I also requested for an internal swap to move to DIS, the Digital Intelligence Service. So that part is being processed now. I just submitted my G50 form, so hopefully I get my secret clearance. Then also in Jan, I went to interview to be an adjunct lecturer at Singapore Poly to teach cybersecurity. Okay, so the reason why I gave you guys all this info. So first things first is my advice to the undergrads is plan where you want to be 2 jobs from now, or maybe like say 5 or 10 years from now. Reason I say this is because, okay, let's say I'm working in Singtel now, right? But you must have a plan of what you're working towards. So let's say in the future, my plan is to play golf half the time and the other half of the time sit on the board to specialize in cybersecurity. But why would someone want to listen to me for cybersecurity? You must have the network, you must have the experience, you must have the academics behind you, you must have industry behind you, you must have the government experience behind you. So currently I'm working in like a quasi-government private company, Singtel. So either I go to government or if I go to a private sector company, right, I have experience on both ends already. I have the masters in cybersecurity. I have my relevant cyber certifications. Military-wise, if I get my transfer to DIS, you have military experience as well as academic network, both from my masters as well as if I do adjunct lecturing. So like my future plan after my next job, whether it's working in IMDA or CSA, the cybersecurity agency, is to go sit on a board somewhere. So why would someone want to hire me? You must make sure you have the credentials. This is not just specifically for a cyber job, but for ISC graduates. You guys think about it, where you want to be in the future. If you want to be a oil trader, or if you want to be a CEO somewhere, why would someone want to take you? You must have the relevant experience. You must work towards it. Another thing I wanted to tell you is, okay, so as you all saw in my introduction, I was a management associate for Singtel. I got the job in December 2017. The thing about something in uni that you all need to realize is you all need to start early. So if you're doing internships, right, or you're looking for your job, you guys need to plan ahead. You cannot in March of the graduating year then start looking for your jobs. Or like your finance jobs are going to be settled in the internship the year before you graduate. All these management associate jobs would close in October or August the year before you guys graduate. You guys must already start applying. So you must have all these things in mind. Yeah. But not everything is doom and gloom lah. So you guys like cherish your uni days. Have a lot of fun. That's the part where I showed you all the places that we went. The one I would like to highlight is in Tembusu. Somehow, me and another engineer guy, we got selected, or we managed to sneak our way into Model United Nations, and we went to Taiwan to represent NUS. And somehow we were in the winning team also. It's just a fun experience, something you guys can go in and like experience. It doesn't have to be that, but it can be anything. Go SEP, go on a long holiday with your friends. During the June break this year, go Malaysia, go Johor, sing karaoke, play go-kart with the other IC classmates. It's the kind of things, these are the experiences you guys need to have when you're in uni. Because when you guys go to work, right, it's a lot harder to make friends. And then the last thing is how you carry yourself is very important. You guys always need to put on your best foot forward. You guys always need to carry yourself nicely because that's how other people judge you. How I managed to do my reservist transfer from the sit test assessor, the defense psychology department to DIS is because when I went for my internship in some oil and gas company, the CEO back then reckoned like I got a good terms with the guy. And he was the one that told me like, hey, actually you can do this. I can put in a good word for you if you want to transfer over. So it's this kind of like connections where you will never know you'll come back and might be fruitful for you in the future. But yeah lah. So that's I made these slides in half an hour ago. So yeah, that's the rough story of my undergrad as well as insights for you guys. Okay, that's it. Moderator, anything?
Sorry, my mic was muted. Okay, thank you, Daren, for the insightful sharing. Our next speaker is Kiat. Yeah, he's a business and technology delivery associate manager at Accenture and is from the IC class of 2018. He holds an ICT assessment certification for solution architect and by GovTech Digital Academy and is also an AWS certified solutions architect. We will now hand the time over to Kiat.
Hello, thank you. It was a very nice sharing by Daren also. Yeah. Perhaps let me just share my screen. I don't have that many slides. Yeah. Yeah. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yeah, okay. So let me just start off by saying that perhaps just to share a little bit about myself, right? So I'm Cheng Kiat. I think most of my colleagues and my friends call me CK. Graduated in 2018, and I've been in technology consulting for over 5 years. So I understand that for most of you, I think the next big decision that you guys will have to make would be to see where you want to start your career with, right? And that might kind of be a daunting experience for you. Personally, for myself, I don't have an exact clue back then at that time, right? But I do have certain notable experiences and perhaps also certain parameters to work with that actually landed me in technology consulting. So that's what I actually wanted to share in today's session. Right. So I'll touch on 3 things that actually shaped my decision to join technology consulting, right? Firstly, my personality, right? Maybe I'll start with that. I think in ISC, throughout the curriculum that we have today, most of you are not, I mean, most of you should be familiar with group work, right? So, I mean, through those experiences and through the curriculum, I found comfort in groups, right? And knowing myself, I do also have short bursts of focus and attention, right? And in this group work, I like hearing different perspectives, right? And one of the key things or key driving forces in the way I do things is I like to accomplish things in my own way, right? So lastly, I strongly believe that my faith is with the people, right? So that's just a little bit about the personality aspect of myself, right? So moving on to ISEM experiences, right? I think the overarching teachings that we had in ISE is that we are taught that working systems, I mean, the popular saying is that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I think what we are taught is that I think even working systems can be improved, right? And for my industrial attachment, hopefully this is something that the audience can relate to. I actually joined Rolls-Royce, not the watch company, but the air turbine company, right? So to dabble and understand what a day in the life of engineering would be like. And for my systems design project, STP, we actually partnered with Unilever in a consulting domain, right, to see how we can actually improve their last mile deliveries. Right. So as part of ICM experiences, we do a lot of project work, right? And I thoroughly enjoyed that, right? So perhaps that also kind of pointed me in the direction of technology consulting, because in technology consulting is nothing but project work over and over again, right? Basically, that's what we do. Okay. And finally, in terms of consulting, there are many different flavors of consulting, right? There could be business consulting, there could be tech consulting. So why did I decide to join tech? It's because I have a deep passion for new technology, right? And at the point in time when we graduated, there was a tech wave, right? So it was something that was pretty sexy. So that's why was kind of leaning towards tech consulting. And I'm thoroughly convinced that tech is the future. Right, so that's why I decided to join tech consulting. Okay, so we proceed to the next slide. So perhaps just to share with you my journey as a ISEM graduate in Accenture right now. I chose to join Accenture. Right, it's been my first job since graduation up to now. Okay, in Accenture we have many different pillars, right? So I'm aligned to the health and public service technology pillar. So what does this mean? I mainly do projects for government agencies. Okay, so without having to share too much of who my client is, okay, my client is an agency that focuses on ensuring that the larger community of people in Singapore have a stable retirement. Okay, so it's quite prominent in Singapore now. They've introduced several policies as part of the budget debate, right? So yeah, so that's who I'm working with today. You can see also I painted kind of my journey ever since I graduated, my analyst, team lead, and associate manager in that purple line. And also some of the roles that I've fulfilled since graduation. So I started off as an analyst, fulfilled DevOps work, transitioned towards techno-functional work before actually dabbling with data migration and moving on to application enhancement, application architect. And finally, right now, the role that I'm fulfilling is project manager for a project for my client right now that dabbles with data warehousing and data analytics. Okay, so across this timeline that you see, right, there will be many areas of growth that your experiences will be funneled into, right? You can see that this cuts across functional skills, tech skills, and also the business and program management skills. And I wanted to actually show you how these experiences have actually funneled to kind of groom and deepen the skills that's across what you see here today, right? Perhaps some of these skills would be something that you would already have as part of your teachings in ISEM, right? And how these skills would be important, right? If you are interested to join tech consulting, perhaps not even tech consulting, but also other jobs in the future. Okay, so there are two things that will actually grow these skills, as you can see on the left, right? One of which are your project experiences, right? Something that you would get along the way as you embark on your career. And the other part would be certifications, right? This is something that most of you can actually attempt to get now, right, to better prepare you for your career, for the future, right? So you also see that these chevrons that we have here across across the functional skills, technical skills, and also the business and project management skills, right? Different roles would groom you in different ways, right? So maybe just to share, as a DevOps engineer, perhaps fulfilling that role would deepen my technical skills more than other roles that we have, right? So this is also being detailed. That's what you see on the slide. So why is it important to have these skills? Maybe just to touch on the functional skills that, from my own experience, right? Functional skills actually help you to understand the clients better, right? To affirm challenges endorsed by the business and to manage client expectations so that you can give the clients the confidence that, yeah, working with us is the right decision, right? And for technical skills, right? I'm in the business of leveraging new technology to make people's life better, right? So technical skills is definitely important, right? Because this is how we unlock value for our clients through our expertise, right? So we are always on the journey of leveraging and using what's new in the market today to actually see how we can value add to our clients, right? You know, now a lot of people are talking about Gen AI, right? Perhaps to undergraduates, Gen AI could be perhaps it could just be a sexy word, but I would like to kind of share through my experience, like we are actually quite deep in the whole Gen AI space, right? And there are a lot of new opportunities and possibilities that we are using Gen AI for today in Accenture, right? And finally, through this whole experience, deepening both your functional sphere of things and also your technical sphere of things, you would arrive at a position where you would need to actually start grooming your own business and project management skills, because this is where you would be leading a team under you to actually fulfill implementations for your clients and to also nourish the pipelines of projects that may come your way, right? This is how we sustain the business, right? So that's when these skills and certifications will help groom that aspect of things, right? So this will help to ensure that, you know, we're always trusted to deliver results quickly, and it's actually the lifeblood of continued partnerships, right? And perhaps just a note that I can bring from Daren's presentation earlier on, it has very much to do with how you also carry yourselves, right? I mean, Accenture is successful in part because we are a brand, and it is our brand name that gives confidence to our clients for continued partnerships. Okay, yep. Just 2 slides that I have to share. I don't have any more. Just want to keep it short. Yep. So maybe I'll just open the floor to any questions that you guys have.
All right, thank you, Cheng Kiat, for the interesting sharing. We'll now move on to the Q&A session. So once again, please, if you for those who have questions, please scan the QR code to submit your questions. The Q&A is also in the Zoom chat, and please state who you're addressing the question to, and avoid asking any questions that are sensitive. It's about sensitive company information. So currently we have our first question, which is for Daren. What advice do you have for IC undergrads interested to join the cybersecurity field?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
I think first thing about the cybersecurity field is, before you even venture into cybersecurity, make sure you like it. Don't do something you don't like just because of the money, just because of whatnot. Second thing is, start looking into cybersecurity certifications. So there's actually a lot of material that you guys will learn on the job or when you're in the industry, right? When you guys won't learn in school. So you start looking at stuff like CISM, so Certified Information Security Manager, CISSP, Certified Information System Security Professional. Some easier courses, maybe like Security Plus. You start looking at these courses, right? Like NTUC will run all these courses as well. let's say you go for the course, might cost you a few $100s, right? But this, firstly, will let you guys try security, whether you like it or not. Secondly, is when you guys go for your first interview, right? You're gonna have something that the other candidates are not gonna have. So you guys already straight away will pass one check in the HR's interview process. Yeah. Hey, moderator, question. Must they send their questions in by QR code, or can they like just unmute and talk?
We will they'll submit their questions through the QR code, but if it doesn't answer their question, they can actually voice out to clarify.
Oh yeah. If anybody has any like clarifications or whatever, just ask away. I think CK and I quite friendly, and yeah, you can see CK slides a lot nicer than mine, so he's probably client facing.
All right, so I guess if no one has anything to add, so we have our next question, which is for Cheng Kiat. So the question is, how has your IC skills benefited your current job in technology consulting?
I think the larger or perhaps the main focus of IC is about optimization, as I mentioned earlier, to how and to see how we can make things better, right? But making things better could come in different forms, right? If you're talking about hard engineering, this could be actual systems and actual machinery, right? But to actually prepare me for where I am today, I think I found comfort perhaps in some of the core engineering modules that we have, programming, right? Something that not many would like, right? So if you like programming and you've taken other programming courses as part of UEMs, I think that would really help, right? In the technology consulting field, right? I didn't have any certification before I joined Accenture or tech consulting, right? It was pretty much a steep learning curve. Yeah, if you've heard the stories out there, I think, yeah, Accenture isn't really, yeah. I mean, you really have to, I mean, like what Daren said, you really have to like what you do, right? So that you're able to adapt quickly. I think that goes for any other job out there. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Cheng Kiat.
Yep.
Our next question is for Daren. What should I look for when considering overseas exchange program as an IC undergrad?
Oh, okay, I went NOC. I didn't go for SCP, but I did go for like the Berkeley Summer School. I mean, one part is make sure you can map your modules back. Second part is go where you think is interesting. I had a friend who from Tembusu, he really wanted to try surfing, so he went for an exchange in Hawaii. I mean, that guy's a business student, but just an example. So I think don't worry too much. Not everything needs to be optimized. Sometimes go and have fun, but make sure it doesn't hold you back. So make sure you can map your modules.
All right, thank you, Daren. We move on to the next question. This is for Cheng Kiat. How technically demanding are the projects in Accenture you are involved in? And can you give an example of how the things you learn in ISEM help prep you for that demand?
Okay. It actually depends. I think in Accenture, even though we are branded as a technology consulting firm, we do have people with all sorts of talents, right? In the project implementation, there will be coders, there will be business analysts, there would also be change management specialists, right? To ensure that when the change is implemented, the organization as a whole gets transitioned very smoothly over, right? So there are definitely roles which are less technically demanding, but at least for the path that I went down, I started off as a DevOps engineer. I didn't know anything about DevOps. I didn't know what I was required to do, at least as an analyst or as a DevOps engineer, was to script out CI/CD pipelines. For those people who know what it is actually, they will understand what I'm trying to say. We actually dabble with shell scripting, Windows scripting, right? And I had to learn on the job, right? Of course, there are experiences in ISEM that has prepared me in a bit for this role, right? It will be all your CS, I don't know what's the code name now, right? 1101. I don't know, right? I've heard that the curriculum has transitioned over to, I mean, at my time, or at our time, both me and Daren, right? It was like what, C? I think it was C. It was like I think long forgotten language right now, right? So I'm glad that, I mean, if it is true that the curriculum has transitioned over to Java, I think that'll be good. Perhaps even Python, that'll be even better, right? So a keen interest or skills that you have actually gotten out of Python programming, Java programming, that would definitely help, lah, right? Because if you're going to be joining technology consulting, I think it's worth understanding what are some of the technologies that we're using, right? And it's worth also knowing and appreciating what the tech sphere has to offer. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing. So the next question is open to both speakers. The question is, what are the factors to consider when deciding on a career path as an IC undergrad?
I try first, then CK just add in. You never know what you want, so take the opportunity to try. So for example, in internship, right? You guys have a compulsory internship. Go and try it out. I thought I'll be doing oil and gas. That's why I did an oil and gas internship. And then I sent out a bunch of applications. I think the reason why I'm actually in Singtel is because Singtel replied me first. Yeah, and then you just kind of make it work along the way. So when I was in Singtel, I joined as a networking infra guy at the beginning. And then I thought, okay, why don't we try cybersecurity? So I did cybersecurity. And I like cybersecurity, so I continued cybersecurity. Yeah, so the path is never clear cut. So even though I say what, plan 2 jobs ahead or whatever nonsense, right? You're still figuring it out along the way.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with Daren, right? I mean, perhaps not to touch on some of the negative news that we have been seeing, right? Retrenchments are happening across many different companies, right? And I think that the job landscape is always evolving, right? But I think stepping into the first career has always been a personal choice, right? It is a personal choice, and it's important to know what you want and use those as some of the guiding principles that to actually make your first career decision, right? So hence I shared my first slide earlier on, right? But whether I was sure taking my first step in Central, whether it was the right decision, I don't think so. I think I'll never know, right? But I've grown to like what I do in the firm, and that's why I'm still here, right? So perhaps just to echo what Daren has also mentioned, right? I mean, for you to be able to make a more informed decision, right? Perhaps you need to know what you like and what you don't like. So try as much things as you can, right? And hopefully those experiences will guide you to make the right choice. Yeah.
Hey, CK, first job, right?
Yeah.
I think we're one of the few.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Cheng and Daren, for sharing. So the next question is also open for both of you. Do you think public sector jobs have more opportunities than private sector's jobs? Example, promotion and job activities.
I have 2 things to say for this. First one is, even though you guys hear the news, the job market is bad, right? The job market is bad for the general person. If you have a niche, right, or specialty, there will be a demand for you. Second thing is, I think there's too many factors to consider. You can't generalize private sector or public sector. So even in a quasi-public/private sector company in Singtel, right, whether things are slow or things are fast, right, you yourself have a say in it. So if I didn't request for an internal transfer to move to a different department, right, my team would have been happy to keep me there for as long as I wanted. But I fought for this transfer after I finished my master's, and it came with the equivalent promotion as well. So yeah, go and be the change in your small sphere of the industry lah. It's for your own benefit anyway.
Okay, so let me try and answer this. Let's see how I'm gonna answer this. Okay, so I'm in a pretty unique position, right? I'm in the private sector, but I work for a government client, and being exposed to, being in this specific position allows me to also, let's to be straightforward. We do speak to our clients. We do gossip about how things are in the government sector. I think the stark difference between private and government sector, which is my own view, right? Is that I think there's a lot more flexibility, at least in the private sector, right? But in terms of promotion, but that flexibility also comes at a price, and that price would be job security, lah, right? I think it's well known that government sector jobs have better job security, right? I've known people who are happy in the job. Yeah, in government sectors, 20, 30 years there, and they will still keep their jobs regardless of how the job market or job landscape is evolving, right? So I think it's a pros and cons kind of thing. There isn't one that edge out over the other, right? So if you talk about promotion a bit faster, perhaps maybe it's private sector, right? But that comes at the price, as I mentioned, right? So you need to accept that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So the next question is also open for both speakers. Question is, how do you guys navigate through the increasingly technological demanding field? Do you recommend to pivot to management early in our career?
CK, you wanna go? Or you wanna go?
Yeah, maybe I can get it, since quite a lot of relatable experience here also. So again, right? If you could, I started off as a very, very tech-focused role, right? DevOps engineer dealing with technologies, before moving on to a techno-functional, before going back into data migration, which dabbles into the technical field again. So based on my journey, it was on and off, tech business, until I became a project manager where I handled 30-man team, right, to implement a project. I feel that both spheres are important, right? Business and tech, they are both important, right? And there is never a number to say, okay, if you're in tech for 3 years, it's time to pivot out to management. If you're in tech for 5 years, it's time for you to pivot out. I think it really depends on your own comfort, right? Because I do have counselees. This unique structure in the firm where everyone who joins Accenture would have like some form of mentor, right? Who will be with them throughout the entire journey. And I tell them the same thing, right? It's important that you deepen your technical skill set and to deepen those technical skills to the point where you're comfortable, because there's no point in you having the opportunity to become a manager, to be a management position, to lead teams, when you don't get the respect of your team. And the only way to get that is for you to also know your shit, right? So it's a very personal journey. I think it doesn't help comparing with your peers in the company, right? Maybe they got the management position earlier than you, but whether they last the next 10 years, next 15 years, or whether even if they do last, whether they're in a comfortable position where they are stress-free, I think that's very important, right? I don't want to be a manager who's stressed every day, things like that, right? So it's a very personal journey, right? So there really isn't like a number that I can tag to this.
Yeah, my opinion on this is, some people do want to be a manager. So it's not, honestly, just follow what you want to do. If you want to be a manager, good for you. If you want to be a specialist, good for you. But things you need to consider is, okay, let's say you want to be a manager, right? Why would people want to listen to you? So the reason I'm saying this is because that echoes what I'm trying to do right now. Like, I'm a manager, but for a very technical sphere, which is cybersecurity. So like what CK said, you must have your shit in order, right? You must know what you're doing, worth your weight in salt. If not, why would people listen to you? You can't build a castle in the clouds, right? Which is why you build all the foundation first. And then if you want to pivot to management, then yeah, you have the credentials to prove it. You've gone through the trenches. Applicable for technical managers.
All right. Thank you. Thank you both. So the next question is for Cheng Kiat. The question is, what attributes are important for consulting?
Making PowerPoint slides.
Yeah. Tech consulting. Yeah, we pride ourselves in having nice slides. I think that's one of the first things that we are trained to do. Wasn't an easy journey for me as well, because I'm not sure. I think maybe with like GK or something that I can't remember, right? My slides were shit as well, right? But in tech consulting, you really need to have that flair, right? For presenting, right? And it's something that I've been hammered time and time again until I got it right lah, in Accenture. So I think it's a learning process, nothing to feel fearful about. But in the tech consulting field, whether you are in a technical role or whether you are in a business role, there's one thing that really stood out for me, and I feel that that's important, right? And that is to not shy away from difficult conversations, right? You could be an infra engineer dealing with your technical counterparts with the clients. You're going to you won't be a smooth sailing journey, right? You will definitely face problems, right? And when you face problems under the pressure to deliver, under the pressure of clients being aggressive, perhaps to some extent unreasonable, if it's a conversation that you need to have, you just have to do it, right? Just have the courage to have the conversation, to have that conversation and to deal with that conversation, because it's just something that you need to do, right? And this goes the same for project managers, perhaps change management managers, the same thing, right? We need to have the courage to deal with difficult conversations. And this is really something that I feel is important if you want to join the tech consulting field. Yeah.
Thank you, Cheng Kiat. We still have another question for you, which is work-life balance really bad in consulting firms? And could you give your perspective on joining the other consulting firms like PwC, EY, KPMG, and Deloitte?
Deloitte.
Yeah, sorry.
May I know who asked this question?
Hi, my name is Mark. I asked the question.
Hi, Mark. Yeah, I think it's a very relevant question. Yeah, I just wanted to know who. I mean, it's a very popular question. You're not the only one who asked. I wanted to know who asked the question because perhaps I wanted to understand a little bit more from you as well, right? We do have the Big Four. They are really starting to groom and grow their tech consulting arm, right? If you were to ask me, and I'm not saying this because I'm in Accenture, Accenture is still the biggest, if not one of the biggest tech consulting firms, and we edge out over the Big Four companies, right? I can't speak for the Big Four companies that are doing tech consulting. Perhaps maybe I can share my experience in Accenture for tech consulting, right? Work-life balance, if you definitely cannot compare with government agencies, right? It's not that they end early. To be fair to them, they do start a day early as well. They start at perhaps 8 a.m. to about 5:30 p.m. But nothing compared to Accenture, at least in my early days as an analyst, where the projects would definitely go into their own cycles, right? I mean, if you're familiar with the whole SDLC, which is the software development life cycle, right? The early parts of project implementation would actually be better work-life balance. And the fact is that I managed to start work at 9, maybe 9:30, go home or leave office at around 6:30, right? At least in the initial phases of the whole SDLC, which is the software development lifecycle. But shit would really hit the fan when it comes to testing, right? So in the testing phase, it could be up to 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. and work might even spill over to the weekends lah. Not both weekends, perhaps maybe just one Saturday. Yeah. So I hope I kind of give you help to clarify lah, what work-life balance is like in Accenture. Yeah.
So okay, I think two questions got joined or something because I actually didn't ask the part about work-life balance.
Oh,
But I think I just wanted to know more about maybe culture-wise or maybe the business areas. Yeah.
For Accenture, is it?
Accenture, and I don't know, I'm not sure if you considered the other four when you were doing your applications.
No, actually I didn't. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I knew that if tech consulting was what I wanted to do, the clear choice at that point in time was Accenture.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt, right? So culture, it's not just work lah, to be honest, really, in Accenture, right? We do have a lot of fun activities, and this is not just project wide, right? It is really firm wide, right? We party, or rather we play really very hard, right? We will always get together, sit down. We have town halls to actually share progress. There's even like a Red Club initiative to actually try different sports like rock climbing, bouldering, yoga, things like that. Bowling, right? Today there's a bowling session, right? Yeah, but I'm speaking to you guys, so that's why I couldn't for a bowling session. Yeah. So so in terms of culture, I think it's pretty okay. But as I mentioned, I don't want to sugarcoat it, right? Project implementation will definitely have its phases where you have to buckle down and have a little bit of OT, right? But that's really, that's really depends on the project they are in, right? At least I've had the fortune to have okay projects since I started in Accenture up to now. Yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
thank you.
Yeah.
CK, I got something to add for all the people considering consulting. So if you don't know what you want to do, right, and you want something that will give you the best experience, that will set you up for the rest of your life, right, go and do a year in consulting. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Cheng and Daren for the answering the question. So the next question is for you, Daren. Question is, may you share with us more about your Singtel Management Associate experience?
Okay. I think the one that will apply to you all the most is probably the interview stage, like the how we got hired. So I think applications opened in August of the year before graduation. So you all need to be ready. So yeah, and I'll get back to the cap of 3.99. Forgot about that story. I'll tell you all later. So applications opened in about August. So we sent in our applications. I can't remember what we did, whether it's writing a letter or online interview. But I remember one thing was they asked you to record your video interview. So they ask you a question, you just record. So you'll just be ready for these kind of things. And then most of these management associate programs will have a assessment day or assessment center. So I felt like I aced my Singtel assessment center, right? Because I went for the Halliburton one. And the Halliburton one was tough. Really, really tough. I think there was about 15 of us that day. They hired one girl. She was a master's in ISE. And then Halliburton only takes in about 2 or 3 people per year. So that was a really, really tough assessment center. So in the assessment center, they will ask you guys like group case competitions, they will individual interviews, maybe trying to do a presentation, etc. Different kind of companies will have a different way, but they're all of a similar flavor. So you guys, I think the best way I can say this is go read up online about what assessment center is like and maybe go for other interviews. So even if you fail the first one, like how I failed my Halliburton one, you'll be ready for the next. And then after that, after the assessment center, I think we had some IQ tests, medical checkup, and then they gave us the offer in end of November or December. Yeah. So then, okay, this gets to the part about the 3.99 GPA. So they gave me the offer, condition you get a second upper. So the next thing I did when school started in Jan is I went to every single prof and I asked them, hey, I got an offer for a job from Singtel, but I need a A minus in your module. So every prof from then on gave me a bit more attention. And then my CAP became, I think, 4.18 in year 4 Sem 2. Yeah, so the moral of the story there is in school, right? Sometimes they teach you more than what's in the classroom also. They teach you how to work the system. So that's what the education is for, not just what you learn in class. Yeah, but anyway, okay, so I joined Singtel MA. Then I think MA programs will be quite similar. They will all have a rotation system baked in. So for Singtel, it was 2 years. Each year you get to choose a location. You get to choose based on openings where you want to go. And because I signed up for this like SPED, which is a specialist MAP program, only available to all the com science, the computer engineering and ISE students. So I went to SPED, then I did like the networking. Then I was talking to a bunch of people and my boss at that point in time, he was saying, hey, go and specialize in something, go and try it out. So that's why I chose cybersecurity. So then I applied for my second year in cybersecurity. Yeah, then I figured out it was not too bad. And then after that, it was follow the money. So after I graduated from the MA program, I was a normal staff. So from year 3 all the way to year 6 right now, I'm a normal staff. But then Singtel MA, the Singtel HR still pays the MA a bit more attention. So like that's why they're sending us for this postgrad diploma thing. So we're finishing it up, I think next month or something. Yeah. So MA program is basically just a normal graduate hire, but just they pay a bit more attention to you. And then if you perform good, if you don't perform, I mean you're treated like any other staff. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. If you got any more, just add on.
Okay. I guess there isn't any.
Yeah.
So we have another question for you, Darren. Which is any tips for time management when taking a part-time master?
Okay, funny thing. I found the master's easier than my undergraduate degree. So just because it's a master's, right, doesn't mean it's harder. Yeah, and time management wise is, I mean, you need to make some sacrifices, but also you just, work smart. You guys are ISC students, I'm guessing probably year 1 or year 2, where you guys get to year 3 and year 4 and things get super busy, right? You all will take the essence of ISC, which is optimization, right? And then you apply it to a lot of aspects of your life. So you all figure out how to optimize your notes, optimize your study timings, you optimize what needs to be studied, stuff that you know is not important to study and takes too much memorization, you just ignore. Yeah. So I guess this one you guys will learn in year 3 and year 4. And then otherwise the rest of it is just sacrifice and get support from your friends and family.
All right. Thank you, Darren. So the next question is for open to both speakers. It's a bit long. What are some skills that you think are important in the workplace that is undervalued by undergraduates? And what can we as students do to improve on them?
Okay, I got a few. I'm just gonna rattle them off, right? I mean, it's gonna sound very like idealistic, but it's the kind of things that I made the mistake when I was in working. When I first started work, and then eventually you pick it up. Stuff is like responsibility, like accountability, all this kind of stuff, right? It's actually very important when you get to the workplace. Like when people ask you to, people ask you to do something, and you say you're gonna do it, right? Do it lah. And then if you do, people know that they can trust you to do something. Don't like just say you're gonna do something and not do it. Other stuff is like I don't know, take initiative. So like in a meeting where there's open items, right? Everyone tries to siam the arrow, right? If you guys want to rise, go and pick and choose which arrow you want it to hit you, or you can go and volunteer for it. I don't know, CK is very like fluffy. I don't know how to answer this.
Yeah, I definitely echo what Darren said, right? I think it's about, I think perhaps not to use, instead of providing one quality that that is important, right? I think like what Darren said, when you say something, I think in the field of technology consulting, my words carry weight. Okay, so like what Daren said, right? If it's something that you can say, is where you better be able to back it up, lah, right? And backing it up would mean that you would also put in the work to ensure that what you're saying is actually factual, lah, right? And I mean, this is definitely something that I use every day, right, in tech consulting, right? Other things that are kind of perhaps brushed over could be, I don't know. I think it's important to be kind. Yeah. I've you will definitely meet all sorts of people in the world, right? So I think kindness goes a long way, especially when you have a strong belief that the best way to actually get experience is through other people's experience, right? So kindness goes a long way in that domain. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
thank you
I-
both for sharing. Wait,
Yeah,
Darren,
one
do you
more.
have anything to add on?
Yeah, one more. Your friends are very important. Don't like your network is very important. The time to build your network is now. Like best is what 5 years ago, you know, the cliche thing. But the people, especially in ISC, right, you guys are going to go everywhere. Someone's going to go supply chain, someone's going to go into medical, someone's going to go somewhere. Maintain your relationships. Especially in consulting, you guys will call on these favors all the time. Yeah, that's it. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is for you, Darren. What is the culture like in Singtel?
Okay. I don't like giving non-answers, but the problem is, and I think this applies to most places in work, right? An organization culture is generally, it doesn't reach everywhere. The culture that would be the most important is the team that you'll be working with. Firstly is your boss, secondly is the people around you, and next is the projects you're going to take. So to answer your question and then to get back to what I was trying to say is, the culture in Singtel is very varied. It really depends on where you are. It has the stigma of the big GLC where everything's a bit slow to move, a bit lumbering, but it doesn't apply to every single team. Yeah. So if you have a young boss and young team, things are going to be a bit more dynamic. If you have an older boss who has been around for a long time and an older team, then yeah, it's going to be a bit slower. So I think advice that you all can take from this is when you are going for your interviews, right? You can go and talk to the boss, get a sense of your hiring manager, how is he like, find out what the rest of the team is. If you know any seniors, whoever's in the company, right? Get them to do a bit of CSI for you. Find out about who's the member of the team and get a feel of what's going on. Go and stalk their LinkedIn, go and do something. And then you can see whether you will gel with that team or not. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Darren. We still have another question for you,
Yep.
which is any tips for people interested in management associate programs, and is it worth it? It seems more difficult to enter compared to normal jobs.
Okay, I'll take the second part of the question first. Of course, it is more difficult. It comes with a higher pay, so therefore higher expectations. If you want to go for it, I say go for it. Don't change who you are to take this kind of job. If you do not want to like be pressured, right? Whatever, please don't take this kind of thing because it's gonna just be more hellish for you lah. In the other aspect is the first part of the question was how to get in, right?
Any tips for people interested in management associate
okay.
programs?
So you must be able to stand out among your peers, and it must be what the company wants. So for example, when you guys go to an assessment center, right, you guys need to be smart about what you do. It's not just about, let's say, let's imagine during assessment center, you guys are going for a case, right? It's not just about like getting the best answer out in the presentation. You have to realize that people are watching you and seeing how you work as a team. I remember during my assessment center, right, there was a bunch of like double degree business and don't know what nonsense people, and they wanted to do we were doing some presentation, and then everybody wanted to do business model canvas. And I could do it because I went NOC. But I knew there was an engineer next to me who had no idea what the hell was going on. And because I went to the Halliburton interview, right, I realized that, hey, assessment center is not just about the answer, it's also about how you work as a team, how you as a person, how you speak, etc. So I took it upon myself to explain to them the business model canvas, trying to get the engineer up to speed in 5 minutes. And then we worked on it that way. And I knew people were watching me. So you just need to meta the game a bit, play the system, if you guys want to do well.
All right. Thank you, Daren. So we'll come to our last question, which is open to both of you. What is something you regret not doing before graduating from NUS?
I have a very easy answer. I regret not taking language mods as my UEMs. I wasted it on don't know what nonsense, econs, marketing, theory of the universe. I wish I did Indonesian.
Cheng, would you like to add on
Yeah.
anything?
Yeah, perhaps, right? Because yeah, perhaps we were misguided in some senses. So I do agree with Daren, right? We're always like asking around what's the easiest course to take to push up our GPA, things like that, right? But we kind of forgotten the essence of university at that point in time. So yeah, I do agree with Daren, right? I think for me also, I would love to have taken like, I don't know, Japanese, Korean, and I frequent these countries most often. Yeah, so that was a waste lah. Perhaps one more thing to add also, I didn't get the chance to go on like a 6-month, what do they call it now? SEP, is it? Like 6-month overseas exchange, things like that. I didn't get a chance to, right? So I mean, I chose to stay in Singapore, but yeah, that's something that I regretted. I would have wanted to, enjoy what and see what life would be like in other countries.
Yeah,
Okay,
my last advice to all the students is go on holidays together. Go Johor, go Batam, go Mandai Zoo. Go and do something together with your classmates. It's not just about studying.
Okay, thank you for the advice, both Cheng and Daren. So this will conclude and will be the end of our Q&A session. Thank you everyone for participating, and thank you speakers for your insightful answers. This concludes the IAC Alumni Series 2024.
Thank you so
Hey.
much.
Thank you,
CK,
alumni.
catch up with you soon.
Yeah, sure.